Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the showdown here between the Lizardmen and the Dark Elves. Classic Warhammer 2 match. It's going to be the Bananaslon facing off against Malekith, the Witch King. And how could I not cast this, guys? There is a double Troglodon. So those are one of those units that you just never see. They're pretty cool. I mean, they have those anti-large darts. They're not terrible in melee combat. Certainly, I would say niche. Not one of the more kind of straightforward picks, but very excited to see how they function against, some pretty powerful Dark Elf units and Scourge Runner Chariots and Malekith, all that sort of funny business. Now, for the Lizard Army, front line of Chameleon Skinks, so going to be doing a little bit of a skirmishing playstyle, like move up with the Chameleons, poke down the enemy Lord, dart them with the Troglodons. Oh my god, is this actually going to work? This would be insanity. Skink cohorts on the backside, and obviously the Troglodons are going to be getting shot by a combination of potentially Bolt Throwers, Scourge Runners, attacked by Dragons, shot by Bolts, so having the Bananaslon to heal them up with Earthbloods and Regrowths, and, not a bad idea. Looks like it was Earthblood there. So for our Druchii player, he is going to be coming in with a Malekith, triple Chariots, and on the backside we do have a bunch of Bleak Swords, as well as Dark Shards. So classic battle line here. Dark Shards can do pretty good against any number of big dinos if they can focus them, and Bleak Swords for their cost point are pretty darn good against most line infantry. On the other side, Crows of Cain going to be summoned in. That is the first asset that the Dark Elves bring out to the battlefield here. And Crows of Cain, yeah, they regenerate. They're annoying. They can certainly tarp at things, but they are very lightly armored, could be taken down by any sort of Chameleon Skink focus fire. And look at this, a little bit of a cheeky juking here as we do see the Troglodons bouncing back and forth, and here it comes. Oh yeah, dude, just straight up Jurassic Park up in this. All right, here it comes. Oh, they look like they're going to shoot, and here comes the Darts of Doom. Wow, that actually did a lot of damage. Holy shit, look at that. Those guys are down about 40% right there as the Troglodons do retreat victorious. If only the Lizardmen had a way to replenish their ammunition. If the Troglodons could be like, fed more, fed something they like to eat, and then they could just get their ammo back. But this is the Celestial Lake, one of our map maker competitions winners. This is the one that won the map making contest by Medley here. We do get Saurus Warriors moving up on the side, and it is going to be Skink Cohort sitting on the objective here, and Malekith the Witch King and the Crows of Cain descend from the heavens, and it could come in here. Gaze of Malice could be a good way of clearing off Skinks, and or a, just a dive, and yeah, it's a good spell right there. Very nice. The Skink Cohorts do get taken out. And the Harpies obviously could clean this up as well. Now, I'm curious about how the Dark Elves are going to approach this. It looks like the Troglodons are kind of like dominating the Scourge Runners a little bit in terms of like battlefield agency. Now they're going to be shooting at your boy Malekith and doing, wow, some big damage right there. Malekith actually takes the double shot right to the face. Now, is it going to move in? We'll get to see how good Troglodons are in melee combat. The Pale Death, at the very least, has really good combat stats. So it is the ROR Troglodon. This thing, I think, has a unique ability, which is the Primeval Roar. So it does buff up nearby units, whereas the other one, I do not believe has that. Let's see, Feral Troglodon. No. So, looks like the Shield of the Old One's going to be going down. That is going to be giving ward save, and they do turn around to fight Malekith. We get some Saurus Warriors moving in to help, and the Bananaslon will be rolling in to also provide a little bit of healing support. Slans aren't the worst combatants in the world. Chameleon Skinks, everybody underestimates them. They're like, oh, these things have 80 armor. They're going to be fine, but no, those little darts, I can't tell you how many games in Warhammer 2, tournament games more specifically, I've lost against Lizardmen because Chameleon Skinks drag down my Empire Knights across the map or something like that. They get the job done, dude. Those guys are really fun. Now, as far as this fight in the tree line goes, it looks like the Feral Troglodon does Rampage, so certainly going to be needing a Cold Blood. But the Crows of Cain do get forced back. A Blood Statuette of Spite used here by our Lizardman player. Very nice. And that will do a bit of damage. Crows of Cain are back, and that Feral Troglodon really need a Cold Blood to kind of salvage that guy. I would imagine that the Bananaslon could do that if he wants to, because having that Rampage into Malekith and just get picked off would be a pretty catastrophic loss. Now, as far as this fighting goes, looks like Scourge Runner Chariots not doing bad considering the circumstances, but certainly losing one of them is tough. And we do get more Dark Riders or Cold Low Knights moving in. So these are the anti-large Cold Low Knight variant. Not going to be super good against just chaff units. Just basic Skink Cohort Javelins will, yeah, they'll lose the Cold Low Knights, but Cold Low Knights with their anti-large attacks, not going to be super effective at clearing out like massive hordes of infantry. They'll get there eventually, but it's certainly not the right tool for the job. So now the Dark Elves going to be sounding the horn as the Bleak Swords and Dread Spears move up. That's exactly what they probably should have done that earlier. The Dark Elf player should have moved up and started to get engaged while this like big fighting was happening over here. But as far as value goes, it is going to be favoring the Dread Saurian Enjoyer as we do get Clausedon Hunters moving in. Anti-large going to be tearing up Malekith and teamed up with the dreaded Pale Death. Soul Stealer going down, that's going to be healing Malekith for a total of 12% of his HP, which is quite good considering he has a massive HP pull up on his Black Dragon here. But yeah, he's kind of being swarmed by these guys. Flesh to Stone active, 66% physical resist. Malekith, for some reason, despite literally being a Witch King who's known for his magical prowess, does not do magic damage, although Graveguard do. You never know. The fantasy universes work in mysterious ways. But 66% physical resist and a regrowth going down is going to be pretty cost effective. Malekith will easily be hard countered here by the Troglodon hunters. With the Toad Rage active, they will tear him to shreds. So what Malekith wants to do at this point is run over towards his Dark Shards and try and run these guys over his Dark Shards and get a little bit of supporting fire. Things are going better for the Dark Elves on this side. We do see the Bleak Swords moving in, and they will be grabbing this objective most likely. Now, what are the Lizards going to be summoning in? We see Chameleon Skinks being caught by Dark Riders, and now we see in the backfield some Coldwind Spear Riders coming up. Coldwind Spear Riders are, they'll trade very well into most Dark Elf cavalry. Coldwind Spear Riders are just great in general. Malekith getting absolutely slapped here by the Troglodon hunters, and he is going to be forced to run into the Shadow Realm. He still has some room before his healing cap, so Malekith could drop some Soul Stealers and probably reach his healing cap. So certainly not the end of the world for our Dark Elf player here. Now on this side, the two Feral Troglodons, let's watch some of their attack animations. You never get to see these things. There's so many cool units in Total War that just like never get used, like ever. And these are one of them. I'm trying to think of something that is less common than these. As far as like, I guess like solar engines. Like these things actually have like some applications, whereas like the solar engine's just kind of a bit of a meme. It's one of the bounties we have on Total Tavern for unlocking an avatar on the website. But the objective taken by the Dinos, the two Troglodons able to dominate what they're fighting over there. Malekith being chased down by the Troglodon hunters, and it looks like he was attempting to drop his Soul Stealer. That's got to feel pretty bad. It looks like it was a misclick right there. I'm not sure, or it could have just been a bit of a canceled. Maybe he canceled it. I'm not sure. But yeah, this is the right play. Just running, dragging them through the Scourge Runner Fire Scourge Runner Chariot's going to be progressively picking these guys off. The Bolt Fiends come out, so the Dark Shard Arawar. Malekith could probably turn and fight at this point, and they probably get terror routed. Looks like Toad Rage was activated once more, but it wasn't going to do the trick. So two objectives owned by the Druki here, and looking at the value, it's about a 1,400 value lead, but with healing being taken into account for our Dark Elf player here, it's going to be, it's going to be a little bit closer than you would think. The two Troglodons aren't going to be very good against massive amounts of infantry, but Troglodons can still be effective as like terror routing pieces. They're pretty damn fast. They have 75 speed, and they have good combat stats in melee. They're very much a hybrid unit. Coldwind Spear Riders going to be charging into Dark Shards here. They are the Spear variant. We had that little talk earlier, but even still, Dark Shards have pretty terrible combat stats, if I'm not mistaken. 24, I guess isn't the worst thing in the world. It's not like in the 18 range, but it tries its best. Skink cohorts chasing things back. Will the Troglodons be able to kind of take the advantage they've gotten and get this game back? Looks like back here they were able to battle some Coldwind Knights, although it looks like the Coldwind Knights went in and piled in on the Banana Slan, but the Banana Slan dropping the fat smoothie on there. And those Coldwind Knights are going to be sent back to Walmart there. So there he goes, Banana Slan. It's pretty hilarious. So yeah, Troglodon's going to need to get active here. On the backside, we see the Lizards with a big resurgence. They have a lot of skink cohorts as well as feral cold ones. So classic Lizardman composition, using clever girls to just give you good sustainable fighting power and armor piercing. But the Dark Shards need to be shut down. So Dark Shards being attacked once again by the Coldwind Riders here. Coldwind Riders right on top of them. And I think there's more Dark Shards coming into the back. No, two of them actually got routed off. So some really good cab play here by our Dino Enjoyer as he does take down multiple Dark Shard units. Skinks on the side, poking and prodding, but going to be run over by Coldwind Knights, I would wager. Bleak Swords using their shields in combat, trying to snipe Malekith here are the Chameleon Skinks, but it looks like the old Bleak Swords should be able to kind of screen them out. So now for the Dinos, the big thing is just to kind of resecure your home objective here, which it looks like is going to happen most likely. We got two Skink Cohort Javelins there, and then you just kind of like, you can focus on trading and all that sort of stuff. Oh my God, is that a timing Dwellers Below? Oh, that's pretty big brain right there. But yeah, it's a little bit, it can work sometimes, but his opponent was watching. And unfortunately, that's going to be a fully wasted Dwellers. As a matter of fact, it just kind of hit some of your own Chameleon Skinks. But I like the idea. If that had worked out, that would have been pretty awesome, but typically I don't recommend using Dwellers in that way. So Feral Troglodons, one of them is going to be getting a fat regrowth, and Malekith's going to get potentially sniped here. He gets hit by one of them. And the other Troglodons popping him in the face. It looks like it didn't do much damage. Oh, it's because he has Soul Stealer active. One of the Troglodons does Rampage, which has got to be pretty annoying there. At least they're in combat with something that they can potentially damage. Malekith does narrowly dodge that other attack from the Troglodon here. And the back objective owned by these Skink cohorts. And that's one of the big strengths of Lizardmen in general is they have really, like, Skink cohorts are, a really fast unit with almost 50 speed, and they have like not expendable capture weight. Their capture weight is that of a normal infantry unit. So Lizardmen can really swarm up on objectives with Skink cohorts and basic Skinks and just get those points very, very quickly here. Malekith at 1800 HP as he is getting blasted by the Feral Troglodon. The Pale Death, unfortunately, is rampaging. And that's the one that you would really, really want shooting up at this bad boy, but yep, Cold-Blooded is active, so that is going to get rid of the Rampage. Here on the side, we do have some proud Saurus warriors holding on, and it looks like they were able to fend off some Coldwind Knights. I wonder if, like, when Saurus are fighting Coldwind Knights, do they look at the Velociraptors and be like, traitors? Like how the Dark Elves are, like, literally riding dinosaurs? Like, look at them like traitors. I wonder, like, that's not an extremely, like, obscure, like, lore thing. I would really, I guess we'll have to summon some lore master for that. Over here on the far side, Cold Knights being taken out. Cold Ones will do, of course, okay into these guys, but the Frail Troglodons are just too healthy, and yeah, they're going to get a big rout there, so Terror Route does go down. On the back objective, Dark Elves doing a little bit of swarming as well. We got Dark Riders coming into the side, so double Dark Rider summon coming around the top side of the map, and the value is pretty close. Both sides do have healing, though. So the Lizardmen have gotten some big regrowths up on their Troglodons, which looks like they've chased off the Witch King. So the Witch King is running for the hills. Both Troglodons are hunting him. Probably could just send one and bring the other Troglodon back here. It looks like Dark Shards trying to put a little bit of hurt onto them. But Dark Shards are, you know, they're good against slower targets like Bastillodons, but these faster dinos with ample movement should be able to kind of hunt them down. It looks like Malekith is going to be retreating off the battlefield here, as the Colossadon Hunters were summoned in as a bit of an insurance, just to make sure that Malekith didn't come back, I suppose. Now, at this point, owned by the dinos, it looks like these Skink cohorts getting up there extra speedy. And yeah, now I don't know if there's going to be much the Dark Elves can do. I mean, except maybe playing the two side objectives here. I feel as if the Lizards having these two big terror-causing monsters, having their casters still in the battlefield, are going to just have too much of an advantage. Cold One Spear Riders coming in, going to be sweeping the Dark Elf skirmish cav off the point, and then from there they can probably move into a bunch of the Dark Shards depending on the circumstances. Dark Riders do take the engagement here. Cold One Spear Riders will absolutely crush them. 90 armor against terrible armor piercing stats, you know, pretty self-explanatory there. So this objective starts to flip back. The couple Bleak Swords here doing a little bit of a dance as we do get some Skink cohorts moving in. As far as the points go, it is favoring the Dread Saurian Enjoyer. No Dread Saurian today, but certainly makes up for it by bringing double Troglodon. And actually, you know what? Having them be somewhat effective here in battle. Shooting their laser beams or their darts up into the sky against the Harpies, not going to be too much damage. 1,750 value on this one. And the other one's sitting at 2,200. So both these Troglodons have 100% paid for themselves right now. As the side objective pretty firmly in the control of the dinos. Crows of Cain. Crows of Cain could actually fight very cost effectively against Colossadon Hunters, since these guys really, I mean, the Colossadon Hunters would probably still win, but from a cost perspective, they cost like almost twice as much as Crows of Cain, and the Crows would bring them down to a pretty low amount of health. So big dinosaur cav contingent going to be moving across. Feral Cold Ones, Clever Girls, Spear Riders, all these units getting ready to do some glorious battle here, as now they're going to be charging into the Dark Riders, and we do get Feral Cold Ones moving in as well. Double cap here, and on the backside, we do get some Dread Spears and Bleak Swords moving up. Lizards swarming with Skink cohorts. Skink cohorts here, so yeah, just starting to flood the battlefield with bodies. Although Dark Shards into rampaging dinos is pretty damn good. Oh, but it looks like there's going to be a Dwellers. No, Banishment coming in from the Toad right there. That actually, oh my god, that was like an MLG Banishment. Like the perfect rotation. It's literally just like going back and forth through the Bolt Fiends there. I was about to say, I was like, oh, there's an avenue for the Dark Elves to get back in this game here by, you know, shooting a rampaging dino with like things that are designed to take down such targets. But the Banishment there just crumbles them, and a really, really good Cold Blood play is going to be allowing the Pale Death to escape, and the other Feral Troglodon is going to be pulling back. But the Hellebronii also quite good against them. Hellebronii are spear variants, and they can do some work, although not the most armor-piercing Troglodons do have 95 armor, something people don't really expect from them. Most of those big dinosaurs have a pretty scaly skin. Cold One Spear Riders battling against Blackheart Corsairs. Corsairs will not, I mean, neither of these units are designed to fight one another, but the Cold One Spear Riders do have the better armor-piercing values, so over the course of a long grind, they should do okay, but cycle charging still would be preferable. You know, they have a charge bonus of 32. Colossadon Hunters circling about, waiting for enemy large to go after, and it looks like they finally found some prey. They will be descending from the sky, the old ones looking from above, and I guess the Dragon Emperor, I suppose, is watching, but yeah, they are going to be absolutely shredding these Dark Riders. Dark Riders going to be getting messed up pretty badly. We've seen the Colossadon Hunters this game do an absolute number on Malekith. 1,900 value, but that's from their previous life. This objective is flipped back to the Dark Elves, man. The Dark Elf player really scrapping super well, despite being, I would say, behind. He's doing a good job kind of playing these points. So this does go to the Dark Elves here. We do get some Spear Riders coming across and more Cold One Knights trying to overwhelm the Dark Elf, the Lizardmen Cavalry Corps. Certainly could come around and get a bit of a flank here, and these Cold One Spear Riders are going to be paying the Troll Toll. And wow, look at that, man. The Troglodons getting hammered there by the Bolt Fiends kind of took the momentum away a little bit, but they need to get this point back like ASAP. They need to move up, and the game is like too close to play around. So we do see this objective flipping back to the dinos ever so slowly. A little bit of a theft attempt here as we do get some Skink cohorts going for this, and I don't hate this idea. Granted, a Corsair unit can just come across and probably karate chop them, but even still, it is a distraction. It's pulling back several units. It probably forced the Crows of Cain out to deal with them, so at the very least, there's quite an amount of units there that are going to have to deal with that. And now we see the Terror coming into play. We see Bleak Swords wavering. These Bleak Swords going to be getting Terror routed here. Cold One Spear Riders, of course, would be able to take the Troglodons in open field fighting, but if they are stacked on top of the Skink cohorts, they're going to be trading exceptionally well. Colossadon Hunters on the other side, going to be ripping apart the Cold One Riders and the Bolt Fiends and the Archers and the things that can actually deal with them. Really, really good Banana Slan support. We see the Slan here dropping the Shield of the Old Ones, which is going to be giving 20% resistance to all these bad boys. And yes, the fighting does continue, my friends. Pale Death with the Primeval Roar. It's pretty cool that this thing has like a melee attack buff. It makes it even more of like a hybrid unit, right? The fact that it can get into combat, pop these like big AoE buffs, I think that's pretty rad. But yeah, the Dark Elves getting dragged down. They just don't have the anti-infantry stopping power here. Over here we get more Feral Cold Ones swarming out. Feral Cold Ones going to be pressuring onto the back objective. Granted, I think sending them over here and just kind of further compounding your victory here might be better. Because at this point, they're probably just going to get taken out by Crows of Cain and Blackheart Corsairs. But I suppose that, you know, they have 90 armor, so they're good against Crows of Cain and Blackheart Corsairs. Yeah, maybe he's right. Just get in there, you know, tie these guys down, keep them from pressing up and assisting on the side points, and do your thing. Colossadon Hunters finding their prey. Coldwood Knights in the back did withdraw from the battle over here, realizing they couldn't take the mass amounts of infantry. Troglodon Snipe from downtown as the Colossadon Hunters rip into these guys, rip and tear the Doom Hunters here as the Toad Rage is done. We're active, going to be putting them up to 200 plus weapon strength, which is pretty insane if you really look at it. So 200 weapon strength to pop on these guys when Toad Rage is active, and they have 10 models, right? So a character like, let's say, Karl Franz has around 500 weapon strength. So 3 Colossadon Hunters will be doing as much damage as Karl Franz, in conjunction with having an anti-large bonus. So that really puts into perspective the DPS output that Colossadon Hunters can do. I mean, I've had many games where like somebody's like, wait, well, how did my Lord die? And you just see Colossadon Hunters with Toad Rage active, and it's really, really nasty there. So Golden Knights get pushed back. I don't know if the Dark Elves are going to be able to pull this back at this point. It's going to be really tough. We got Skin Cohorts fighting here. Clever Girls did eventually get dragged down, but not before they did some decent damage, and the Dark Elves are going to have to get objectives really, really quickly. I guess the Lizards could throw by not reinforcing their back objective, and if the Druchii could move up some units and take this one pretty quickly and maybe hold it. But even at this point, the Lizards are approaching the 1400 point. Yeah, they're pretty close. It looks like it's going to be 1329 to 1130 here. And on the far side, yeah, complete rout as the Troglodons and Cold One Spear Riders do break the will of those Dark Elf attackers here. So we can do a little bit of fast forwarding, see if there's anything, but I really don't think there's going to be. GG, well played, it looks like. That was a really fun match. We got to see some unorthodox units via the Troglodons, and yeah, it's always cool to see different playstyles and underutilized units having a chance to shine and actually paying for themselves and being impactful, right? It's not like they were a meme unit that was brought and was terrible. They were brought and they were effective. Now, the Dark Elves certainly made some mistakes in terms of like not pressing that far side whilst the fighting was going down. Malekith could have been a little bit more elusive. He did also miss his Soul Stealer, but it was still really cool to see that. So 29 here, yeah, looking at the value in all these guys, that was quite a bit of fun, man. I love seeing Troglodons in action. Colossadon's MVP though, 3100 value on those is pretty insane. Golden Riders, good as always, they're great in that matchup. Scourge Hunters, that was also another misplay. Like if the Dark Elf player, the game was close enough that if he had been more conservative with his Scourge Runners and had just followed the Troglodons and sniped them, I think the Dark Elf build was more than capable of winning. It just needed a little bit better positioning there, and it could have done it. But yeah, well played to both players. It was a fun match. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. We'll see you on the other side.